Regular council meeting of the Village of Armada will now come to order, please.
7:02.
7:02. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Let you go solo there, Mark.
Well, that's your leader. Roll call, please.
Clark?
Here.
Conan?
Here.
Wolock? Ballard?
Here.
Cooper? Here.
Approval of the agenda. What's the council's wishes?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, we open up the floor to the citizen comments, and we would like to try to limit your time to approximately about 3 minutes or so, if you want to do that. Anybody in the audience would like to address the council at this time? There is none at this time. There will be no presentations tonight. Administrative reports. You have your building report and commissioner liaison reports. Is there any of the commissioners that want to address the council as well?
I would like to.
Yes, Mr. Clark.
I received a letter that was forwarded to me from Ed. It's from the DEQ. This is dated May 28th. It's what they did is they studied our water system, and it says, we are pleased with the overall operation and maintenance of the water supply system. We are pleased that all items listed on previous evaluations dated January 9th, 2011 were promptly addressed. And they go on, and I just want to read one little. Our records indicate that the water system is presently in compliance with all the plans and programs required per Act 399. As such, no changes are required to be made at this time. As a reminder, proper system maintenance and compliance activities cannot be performed without adequate staffing and funds. While not a requirement of Act 399, we recommend that water rates be increased regularly to allow for anticipated infrastructure maintenance and capital improvements. And that was signed by Amber Lopez of the DEQ.
Can I get that, Steve?
Yeah, you can keep that.
Yeah,
I have the original. I have the original, but I just want to mark what you read.
Well, that's a good letter.
Yeah, it is.
It was an
The guys take good
excellent
care
report.
of us. Yeah.
And they was here for, I think it was 4.5 hours or better that day too, so it was a very, very excellent report.
And the guys take good care of our system.
Anyone else at this time? If not, we're going to go to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes, May 11th and 18th. Payment bills. What is council's wishes?
Mr. President, I'll move that the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
I'll second.
What was supported by Cooper? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. There is no old business tonight, and now we'll be dropping down to the new business, in which is a public hearing, and Treasurer Adair has been working with us also, and Mr. Ballard and Mr. Clark and myself as such, with the engineers and the DEQ as such, and also we had F&V representative from the sewer plant also in our meeting. And so would you like to start
Don't we have to move it?
with the opening? Yes, we'll start with the opening.
I'll make a motion
Well,
to
it's not
open
time.
the public hearing.
We can't do it early. We can do it late.
No,
it's
You said 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
seven.
said it was 7.
O'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion to open the public hearing at 7:05.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. So we are open to a public hearing now. And Treasurer Dare, did you want to address some issues here first?
Well, just for the public's information, the public hearing was brought about because we are in the process of an S2 grant, which was a grant that allowed us to bring an engineer in and evaluate our sewer system plant. That's still in the process. The public hearing, had that been completed by now, the public hearing would have been to go forward and settle our financing, apply for an SRF loan, and start to make corrections on those items that had been identified. As Maya indicated, we had met with the DEQ, and they were not satisfied that all of the items had been addressed correctly. So we are still in the process of identifying and explaining to the DEQ the needs for some of the things that are identified in the SRF application. So we're still moving forward with it. We're just not at a point yet that we can say that it's a final draft until DEQ puts their stamp of approval on it. So that's about as far as we can go with the public hearing tonight. There's nothing really to go forward with until we do have the final draft.
I just want to add one thing, Joe, just to make it clear that it's not the village that's going, well, we're going through it, but we have Giffords as our engineer that is doing all this, so we're not just coming up with stuff we think. It's
not things we've identified. We've hired engineers to come in and do this.
The engineers that are going through the plant, are these DEQ people?
No, Giffords Webster's our engineer.
It's their engineer.
It's our engineer.
It's ours.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant, but it's one of Giffords' engineers.
Yes, it is Giffords engineer. Well, and it started out with, help me, Michael. Lombardo started the evaluation. Yeah, and Giffords is finishing up and identifying and putting in this process plan that's an acceptable format to DEQ, the logic and the reasoning, and the critical need for any of these things that they want to have repaired to make sure that it qualifies for that.
So they indicate when they'll have this complete?
We still got to meet with DEQ. They're going to go over the things that they've reviewed and get with Giffords to make sure that the corrections are done expeditiously and correctly. So
There was about 30-some items to begin with that DEQ wasn't not pleased with. And so there's still more issues that since she's reviewed and since she's gotten more information from them of the plans, also of the project period. And so until that is, brought up to what DEQ wants, they're meeting with us, in other words, so that they can set everything so that it's going to be, workable and be done right, in other words. Anything else, Steve?
Well, it's just that a lot of the stuff was ambiguous, and DEQ, from my understanding, they want more precise information. Just to say that this line is bad, well, what is bad on it and what's going to take to fix it. So it's stuff like that.
As the DEQ said at our meeting also, that it has to be written so that a lay person can understand it. And she says it's far too ambiguous. It's not done properly, is what the problem is.
well, and it's not a 1 or 2 page document
No,
either.
it's not.
It's 2 3-inch ring binders
Right,
that are
exactly.
filled with graphs and charts and references from one chart to another graph to another section, and it's quite complicated. So we'll keep pledging through it till we get there.
Okay. And no further comments from Joe?
Not if anybody has any questions or any further
Okay,
comments.
yes. We'll be open to the floor, in other words, for the citizens. If there's any questions you folks would like to ask, if we can answer for you.
I move we go out of the public hearing.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. We go out in public hearing.
7:12.
Okay, 7:12. You got that?
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a motion supported, and we're gonna go for,
The motion's postponed,
okay,
Yeah,
we-
we gotta
We gotta
roll.
vote.
We-
Oh,
Got to vote on the motion.
gotta vote.
okay, right, so you didn't read the motion yet?
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
no, to close.
He's
Oh,
You just
okay.
need to have.
Yeah, okay.
I just moved to close the public hearing.
Very good, thank you, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now, it would be fitting proper to move to postpone the indefinite consideration of the proposed project.
Mr. President, I'll move to postpone indefinitely the consideration for the proposed project for improvements to the Village of Armada wastewater treatment facilities.
Support.
Moved and supported, further discussion?
Should we do a roll call on that, Jeff?
You don't have to.
No.
You can if somebody wants, if Lyle wants to, you can.
No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we're coming to the council vacancy appointments. We have a sheet here. These have been created with a couple resignations, and we have had two originally, and then we had a third came in later. So one is Sandra Belkey, and she's also been a volunteer with the parks itself, but I think at this time, if you'd like to address the council with an item or two or whatever, it's up to you.
I would like to do that. Thank you very much. I'm Sam. It's really Sandra, but that's what my mom calls me when she's mad at me. So you can all call me Sam. I moved here about 10 years ago, and I've been an active volunteer in the village most of the time I've been here. When Ross was on council, I worked with him rehabbing the park, and I started the parks program in 2008, and I've been running it ever since. In the last couple of years, I've had help with a guy out in the township named Tim Cheek, and he's the brains behind the sponsorship. So we hope that that's going to give us a chance to take it maybe a little bit farther than we could take it without it. I wanted to say that I am employed at the Township of Armada as the deputy clerk. I'm an appointed person over there under the clerk. My primary responsibility is voter registration and managing the election. So I can't be on a ballot if I'm managing elections. So the entire time that I hold that job, I can't run for office. So this gives me an opportunity to serve my community without creating any conflicts anywhere, and I would like to do that. I've always been civic minded. I enjoyed it when Ross did it, and I've learned a lot about how local communities can be run working at the township. It gives you a good sense of what you can do. Anyway, that's my pick-me speech.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next one is Michael Shaw. Michael could not be here tonight. He had an event that he had to pay some money on to tune of about $500 and couldn't get his money back. So the thing is that he had this scheduled some time ago. And so you have his letter there too. I have it on here. His name is Michael Shaw, and he humbly is requesting consideration for the one-year village council position. He served on the Sterling Heights Citizens Advisory Commission for 2 years. I learned to work with within the perimeters of a city government and had to deal with public during meetings. I have some experience with the environmental issues and the environmental law. I dealt with the NDEQ and required to obtain a storm operator's license. He also coordinated construction of the carrier annex in the Rochester Hills for construction there. And he feels that he would be an excellent candidate for this position and would accept our consideration for this portion. And he lives here in the village in the subdivision. And the next one, yeah. Next one is Mr. Sharp.
Mr. Stark lives in Mount Clemens. I'm just Joe Stark. I'm about a 12-year Armada resident. Happily married for about 21 years. My wife Suzanne there. There's 3 of my 5 kids here. I've been active with the Little League. I'm a lifetime Armada Invets member. I think I kind of got corralled into putting my letter in, just in the spirit of volunteerism. I'm a firefighter in Mount Clemens. I've been in the command position for the last 10 years there. As far as local government goes, and as far as politics go, I believe I've got a pretty good dose of that working for the city of Mount Clemens. I think what I can bring is just some common sense and some ways to simplify things, organize things, structure things, to make things easier for all to digest and for the ordinary citizen to comprehend and take part in their local government. If there's anything that I can't understand, I will not vote on that anyway, one way or the other, without getting the facts, getting to the basic point of things, and simplifying things for everybody to understand to make things easier. Drama, I'm very anti-drama. I don't believe in drama. I believe in sticking with the facts. I believe that people can contribute even if they're not someone that you necessarily get along with. And people that may have prior alliances, they may or may not be to the right or to the wrong of an issue. Small town politics, I know how that can play a big issue in taking care of business. Well, I don't believe in adhering to that at all. Other than that, I'm here to volunteer, and that's the end of my speech.
What is the council motion? Ms. Belkey's our first one, not the.
I make a motion. You're looking for motions?
Yes, for motions.
Okay. I make a motion to appoint Sandra Belkey to the elective office of village trustee until the next regular village election, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the General Law Village Act.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported that we appoint Sandra Belkey. And any further discussion?
Just so both of you know, I think I told you all this, but our original thought was that we could appoint you to the 2 open seats because one expires in 16 and one expires in 18, but general law does not let us do that. So you are appointed until the next election, which is 2016. So you understand why it was like that. Can't go against general law.
All in favor?
Aye.
Me
Mo-
too.
Motion carries. Even though you don't have to appreciate it.
Wow.
It's the first time in how many years you voted.
Yeah.
And you don't get to.
And I don't get to.
I think the second one we have is Michael Saul or Joseph Stark. What's the council's wishes?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Joseph Stark to the elective office of village trustee until the next regular village election, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the General Law Village Act.
Is that moved? Is there support? We don't have a support.
Mr. President, I'll move to appoint Michael Shaw to the elected position of village trustee until the next regular village election, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the General Law Village Act.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported that we appoint Michael Shaw to the trustees seat. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Motion carried.
Sorry, Mr. Stark.
That's all right.
Joe, might be a little further break, but I know you came up here to hoping to get on the council and it didn't work out. But we do have openings on the planning commission. We are looking for volunteers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, from time to time, we have probably openings, any place there, like ZBA or the planning too, like David says.
Planning, we really need.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
How many openings we got on the planning commission? 2. Yeah.
That was where Mike and I started too.
It's always a good place to get a foot in the door.
It is a good place to get feet wet there too, so whether it's city council or whatever. So, okay. We have the ZBA appointment. We have a request there from Estella Bileski. And there's actually one opening.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to comply with the President's recommendation to appoint Stella Pidletsky to the Zoning Board of Appeals to a term ending December 31st, 2015, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the Village Charter.
Do we have to say it should be an alternate?
Well, we shouldn't appoint her, if the idea is to appoint the treasurer, then you need to make that appointment first, and then she can be appointed. Because then Joe will have a vacancy in the alternate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mr. Ballard's aware.
I will withdraw my motion.
Withdraw, okay.
I'll explain the situation on the zoning board of appeals, Joe.
I was on the zoning board of appeals for probably about 15 years as the treasurer. We had a couple other people that were interested, so I stepped down. But I've still always done the treasurer's job. It's probably the most complicated job on the ZBA because you're doing all of the mail outs, the 300-foot radius, you're putting together the packets for the board. So it's not a position that anybody on the ZBA really jumps up and down and says, let me do that, let me do that. So and with having the tax program and all of the addresses and information and legal descriptions at my disposal, it's just been easier for me to do it than to try to train somebody else and have them come in and, they have to take my desk. I have to get away and do something else. So it's just something I've always just continued to do. So at the last ZBA meeting, and I completed my last packet that I had done, they'd asked me they were voting officers, and they asked me if I would take the office of treasurer again and be a full-time ZBA. And being that nobody else jumped up and down and said, no, I want the treasurer's position, I said, yes, I would. I'd go back onto it. So they said they would like to have me appointed on full-time, but we still need an alternate because that's an important board when you're making decisions. It's quasi-motor court, so you like to have a full board at all times.
Okay, what is council's wishes now?
Well, do you have a recommendation here?
Well, we could do, this is the recommendation really, because the fact is that they're requesting that she do it. She's been doing it, so based on that.
I gotta go see when that.
Well, that recommendation is should Joe Adair.
I think is it 16, November 16?
I don't know when that one is up to date.
I saw it.
I think Michelle's checking it right now.
I looked at the list today and I think it was somewhere in that neighborhood.
Well, we have to appoint 2 people. We have to have Joe as the member
And then Stella
and
has.
Stella as the alternate.
But this only goes till December 31st?
No, the open seat is open till the 17th, till 2017. The alternate seat is open until December 2015.
Yeah, because those we can appoint, it's not elections. So we don't have to go till the next election.
But they're
Those are
staggered,
appointed.
because you don't want everybody to run out at once. So that's why they're staggered.
The alternate has a definite term.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to make a motion.
Well, we need, Joe, you probably need to resign first from your
Alternate position?
So council
Okay.
can accept your resignation.
Do you want to table this till the next meeting?
Well, I don't know if, yeah, we probably could, because I don't
Because
think
there's
we
not
have.
another meeting coming up.
Yeah, we
It's
don't
only
have
as needed.
2 weeks apart, so.
Yeah,
So we're all clear on,
Yeah, that way
Yeah, so we're fair.
we can get the letter of resignation.
Alright,
Mr. President, I'll move that we table this ZBA appointment until our next regular council meeting on
June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Is table the right word, is postpone?
Postpone.
Need a second to that?
Yes.
Second.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. The next is the K-9 vehicle. This is in the police department, so Sherry, your department?
Yes. As everyone knows, we have a K-9 unit. For those of you that don't know, we have an officer that went out and got donations to cover a new K-9 unit for the village of Armada, so every cost would be covered. And with relation to that, he had to go out and actually, the council had to approve us getting the donations and specifying it for this cause, which we did. So he went out and was going out and actually getting the checks for the donations. However, he came across a vehicle that was budgeted for within the donation funds. The vehicle came in before he actually was able to get some of the donations in to cover it. So what he did is he paid for it out of his own money, and then once he got the fund accumulated with the donations to cover the car, he then now is asking for the reimbursement for that car.
He should not spend his own money on a car for us. That's totally against rules. We're gonna get audited on that. Aren't we?
it's something we'll probably get a slap on the wrist for, because you should not ever
That's complete.
personal funds with government funds.
I only found out about this 3 days ago, so I am,
You need to talk to the chief of Dominic about that.
well, I guess,
Because just for
Dominic was-
future stuff, they can't be buying stuff
in hopes of.
on their own and then saying, here's the bill.
well, I don't think he should have to pay for it out of his own money.
Oh,
No, he
So I think that he
shouldn't have
should
been bought
reimburse him.
until the
You'll be
funds were
reimbursed.
collected.
Well, that's where the competitive pricing comes in sometimes too. You know, and if it's not a competitive price, a bid price as such, you know, because we do open
So
the
we
door.
put on, we
Bid
put,
pricing
we
is
put,
for new vehicles, not used vehicles.
but then we put insurance
Well,
on
it's
a vehicle that he bought.
it's still spending $20,000.
I understand that, but you mentioned bid pricing, that's only on new vehicles, not used.
Well, it could be because there's maybe others around. There could be others around as such too.
Right. So this was within his budgeted amount that was already presented to council. He waited to get the money in the account to cover it. He didn't want to run it into the negative. So he went and did it on his own, which I thought was a good way of getting the vehicle that he wanted, a good way of making sure that the money was there first without putting the village at risk
Well,
too.
that's probably fine and dandy, but the village is a purchaser and they should be writing the check. It is within the department, it has been, you know, budgeted for and everything else.
And I will talk to the department about that.
That should be coming from the village council.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion to reimburse Dominic Vicari for the cost of the 2008 Chevy Tahoe for the new K-9 program and a portion of the deposit required to be outfitted in the vehicle as a police vehicle at a cost not to exceed $20,000.
I'll second that.
Moved and supported, any further discussion?
Yeah. Have we collected the $50,000 in donations, Joe?
I believe, yeah, I just put 10,000 again in this morning. if
So
we
how
haven't,
much is
we're-
that?
If we haven't, we're pretty darn close,
Okay.
so.
Okay, so, all in favor?
Should be.
That'd be,
Oh, yeah, it's money, that's right. All right, roll call please.
Cooper,
Yes.
Coleman,
yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Wallach,
Yes.
Ballard.
Yes.
Motion carried. Now the up and coming agenda items, council have any?
Do we have one to put on there for July meeting?
You know, CVA to there.
Do we need to put that Blake property on the
No.
July 13th meeting?
I don't know that that has to be done here. This is
Okay.
just for
You
reference,
can do it,
for me to remember to put it on the next agenda.
Okay,
Next agenda.
okay.
But-
Did we hear anything else about the CDBG?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So you want that for the next meeting?
No, because we can't do that. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. I talked to the county and, we cannot mix, nonprofit funds with donating to the fire department. So basically that the nonprofit that took our donation is going to lose it.
Okay.
So we need to remember that next year when we're dispersing.
Okay.
No,
They
the
can't give it
donation
back
was
to us?
No, they cannot.
They can't give it
No,
back?
it has to be expended by, it has to be expended by June 30th. There's not enough time to
There's
do
not enough
that.
time for us to
No.
What
reallocate
donation
it,
was
but
that?
It was to the Michigan, or Macomb Literary Partners. They were hoping to be
Yeah.
able to use it. You know, for me, fortunately, they couldn't. You know, I mean, I prefer that they not be able to spend money. That means that people aren't in need, you know, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But unfortunately for us, that's $2,000 that could have went, you know, to something else. It
Something
could have went
else,
to
yeah.
another nonprofit that could have used it, or it could have went to the fire department, or to,
Camp was one of them too.
yeah, or to, you know, something else. But it's just something to remember next time we're dispersing CDBG, which will be next year.
And why couldn't they? Oh, because they couldn't use it.
They couldn't use it.
No,
Yeah,
they're not-
they're.
They were a
they're to
worthy
help.
charity, but they could not use it.
Yes, they're a
Right.
worthy charity, but they wanted to use it elsewhere in the county.
Yes.
And, you know, we're not,
Wasn't it that that money had to be used in our area,
yes, it has to.
and we didn't have a need for
Right,
it here?
right. It's to help people,
Learn to read.
learn to speak English, and we teach them English, but we didn't, there wasn't any, but they couldn't, I shouldn't say it was not a need, but they went out to the schools, they went to the libraries, they went here, there, that's what she told me, whether, that I don't have any verification of that, but, and there wasn't a need for it. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Sherry, I forgot about that, but, so it's just gonna be lost.
So another item will be on there is the presidential appointments for council.
No, ZBA.
No.
No, this is for
Commission.
commissions.
I'm sorry.
No others at this time then?
I'll have the smart funds, but that just got the mailing today.
Okay, so we have the three items then going on. At this time, the citizens' comments is opened up to the public again.
I'd like to say thank you, and concerts start on Wednesday. We've got the high school chorale group in the park.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. So, everybody
Very good.
bring
Thank
bug
you.
spray.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're all at 7 o'clock, is that it?
7 to 8:30, yeah.
7 to 8:30.
Porta
Yeah.
potty should be there one day this week, so we should be all set to go.
I encourage the community to count this. It's a wonderful program. Sam and Tim do an excellent job with getting bands in. This is like the third year or second year that Corral's doing the opening day,
I
which
think
is
it's the third one.
third. Which is great because the kids are already out of school, so getting them back together to do this is kind of a feat, especially for
It's
those
been the
that
one
have
that-
graduated.
People have asked for the most over the years, and I never could figure it out until Michelle hooked me up with the person, because I don't have kids in the district, so I don't know the teachers.
Yeah.
Michelle hooked me up.
Yeah, she's got an excellent program up there, choir program, so the kids are really phenomenal group.
Good. Anyone else like to address the council at this time?
Do we want to give kind of an open update on the street?
If we had some.
Start, well, we know the starting date and
Yeah.
kind of some of the things to expect.
Oh, right now.
Yes.
Right now?
Well, our Main Street is supposed to begin on the 12th of June. Where they're gonna start, which end, I have no idea. But I know we do have to have some water work done up between Burke and Spencer. So I think that's gonna be the first thing that they're gonna do up
Yeah,
there.
I saw stakes in the ground for that.
Yeah, I saw some stakes too. So. Also, the Teach Street Bridge is going to start here in July. I believe July 1st, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Yes, July 1st. And the proposed end date is September 17th, 2015, for that road to be open to traffic. During that time, after that, after the Teach Street culvert is done, then they will proceed immediately to the Prospect Street Bridge, tear that down, and get that done. So I'm looking for really no hiccups in that project. Main Street, well, who knows? There's going to probably be hiccups someplace. But it looks pretty good for the Teach Street and Prospect Street Bridge rehabilitation. The residents have been notified that during our Main Street reconstruction, the fairgrounds will have parking over there. You'll enter and leave by the Fair Street entrance, and the parking will be up by the Grange Hall to make it easier for the people down there on Main Street. So therefore, and the Armada Schools has also agreed to allow residents to park at the Academy building on Prospect Street. So we've got a couple areas for parking. The road will be open to local traffic only, from what I understand. The fire, ambulance, etc. like that will continue to be able to get down there. There'll be no problem there. There will be no brush pickup or anything like that for the residents from the village DPW during the construction time. So don't put any brush out there. The garbage, if you will put the garbage in back of the sidewalk, your garbage men will be coming down to pick up your garbage, from what I can understand from HRC, our engineers on that job. So it looks like it's going to...
In back of the sidewalk, when you're on the residential side of the
Yes,
sidewalk?
yeah, in back of the sidewalk means on your side of the sidewalk. Don't put it out on the sidewalk or out on the street side of the sidewalk.
You put it in your front yard?
Yeah, put it in your front yard, basically.
Put labels on it, we'll call it a yard sale.
Yeah, there you go. Any other questions, I guess?
And Burke Street is not still on hold?
Burke Street is on hold. That right there doesn't look as though that we'll be doing that this year anyway. The grant that we did receive, a $60,000 grant, they didn't take into consideration the amount of hauling for the asphalt, because the only place that has this asphalt with this scrap tire mix is Bay City. And so it's basically almost 2.5 times the amount of the cost of, yeah, with including the travel time, about 2.5 times the cost of the asphalt. So I've got Doug running some numbers for me to see what it would cost without this grant, you know. And I mean, if it's going to be, you know, $180,000 something, we're just not going to be able to do it this year. So we'll put it off till next year and see what we can do. You know, so that's what we got.
And
Should mention that local traffic means that you live on the area that's being ripped up, not that I live just on the other side or just in the,
Well,
Just going through quickly?
yeah.
Yeah.
you might get a little traffic down your way through after this, Sherry.
Actually, I won't get much at all.
No,
They're-
Not up at Lexington.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, that you're Madison.
Yeah, we won't get much.
No, they won't, because
That would
they
be terrible.
come right, they'll be tore
Oh,
right
that would
around.
still be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be
They
Past
there.
the
won't
church.
go around there.
It's like living on a dirt road.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Any other council comments at this time? If not, community events, any further community events?
Concerts in the park.
We already stated that, that's fine. There will be no closed session tonight. So the next is adjournment, which is fitting and proper.
So move to adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Ballard, supported by
Support.
supported by Mr. Clark. Any further discussion?
7:42.
Yep. Please
Oh.
vote.
Did vote.
Oh, you want to vote, that's okay, let's just vote.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
42? Hey Jeff, I need you.
Okay.
Joe?